Alright guys, Stryker 655 here, and this is going to be a little bit different video. Probably going to be kind of brief, not going to go into a whole lot of detail about it, but I have noticed, seems to be, in particular with the Stryker Radios, that there is a big correlation between output and the voltage that you're supplying these radios with, more so than a normal radios or amps that I've noticed. Normally you can go, half a volt or add 1 volt, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference, the output. But with these Strykers, it seems to make a significant difference. So I sold a 655 here a while back. Guy got it. He's using an MFJ meter, and he said that it wasn't doing the output that he expected. So my first thought was, it's probably the MFJ meter, which that's probably part of it, because for whatever opinion people have, Bird meters, MFJ meters, Dosey meters, they all read different. More to come about that later. But what I noticed when I got it here is it was doing the same output that all the Stryker 655s do when they leave here. They usually do 80 to 85 watts. Sometimes you'll get one that does 90, but it was showing about that much output. At 14.5 volts is where I test all radios at. We'll come back to that in a second. So all the power supplies I sell are either adjustable, or if you buy the Fat Boy power supplies that are fixed, they're at 14.5 volts minimum. And I haven't verified this with a customer or not, but there's a good chance that his power supply was running less voltage. And what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to do a couple of different voltage settings with this 655, and we're going to show how that translates to the output. Now I've got two 100-watt slugs out here because I did want to check my slugs and make sure they're reading pretty close to the same. Now, to be fair, this one, this Bird one, it does read about 3 watts more generous than this coaxial dynamic. So if this one shows 85, this one shows, 82 watts. So there's not a big difference, but that one does read a little bit more generous than this one. Both can be used. It's not a big enough difference to really worry about. So first thing I want to do is we'll start at the top, and I want to run this up to 15. Let's do 15.1 because that'll be about 15 by the time we get to our radio. Power supply is being finicky. There we go. Okay, so we're going to test it at 15 volts. And what the customer said was he was only seeing about 60 watts out of this thing. Okay, do some research, guys. I'm not the only one that shows these things doing 80, 85. Some people are even showing them do 100 watts. And this is a version 2. But it's common for people that have a real Bird 43P to show these things doing 80 watts PEP. That's not uncommon. But let's start out with our 15 volts and see what we get. PEP. 100-watt slug. Bottom scale. Check. 1, 1, 2. Audio. And you can see it's doing a good bit of power. It's doing 90 plus. Audio. Almost 95 watts PEP. Now again, that's at 15.1 volts. So all we're going to do, come over here to our power supply, and we're going to go down to, let's go, what would be 14.6 if we can get it adjusted here. Okay, 14.6. Let's see what kind of difference that makes. Okay, audio. So we can see a difference there. Again, this one reads about 3 watts more generous than my other one, but it's easily talking 80 plus watts PEP. Where it was talking about 95 a minute ago, where it was audio at about 95, now it's down to about 80 or 85. Keep in mind, that's only half a volt difference, and we've already lost, what? You could safely say 7 to 10 watts. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down, let's knock a whole volt off this time. Let's go, what the heck, we'll do 13.8. That'll be about 13.7 by the time we get to the radio. So let's check and see what that does. Hello, And there you go, we lost another 10 watts. So that's 70 watts PEP. Audio check 1 2 3. Audio check 1 2 3. Now just for the hell of it, let's take this one out and we'll put the coaxial dynamics in and see where it reads. We're at what, about 70, something like that with the other one. Hello. And we got about 65 with this one. Audio. So we're getting there. We're getting pretty close to that 60 watts that this guy claimed this thing was doing. Let's come on down. Let's do, I think 13.4. Let's give it a try there. Okay. Audio, and there you go. Audio, 60 watts PEP at 13.4. Audio, now that is on the CDI, coaxial dynamic slug. Let's put the bird one back in. Okay, audio, and it does show a little bit more. Like I said, about 63, 62, 63. While the CDI slug, coaxial dynamics, shows about 60. So, in conclusion, we went from 15 volts to basically 13.5, and we went from doing 95 watts PEP, give or take, to 60 to 65 watts PEP. Now that is not very normal for what other radios do. You may lose a volt with a lot of these radios and only lose 5 watts, 10 watts PEP. But basically we've dropped 1.5 volts on this Stryker, and we went from doing 95 watts PEP to basically 60 to 65 watts PEP. So my point being on this video is, a lot of vehicles out there are running these days 14, 14.5. Some probably still run in the 13s. Some of you guys using power supplies that are at 13.8 volts. You get a radio, you're going to be like, what the hell? Why ain't this thing doing what I thought it was? Could be a couple of combinations. It could be your watt meter may read a little bit tighter. That's a very good possibility. Or what could be a bigger possibility is your power supply is way less voltage than what it was tested at here. If I'm testing at 14.5 and you know it's doing 80, 85 watts here, and then you've got a power supply at 13.5 doing 60, 65, big difference. So keep that in mind, guys. This is just a FYI video, the more you know kind of deal. A lot of people don't realize, and I'll be fair with you, I didn't realize on these Strykers that changing the voltage up and down made that much of a difference, because it's not typical for most radios, in my experience. You guys may have other experiences, but when it comes to these Strykers, 655s, 447s, 955s, just know that adjusting the voltage up and down will make a significant difference in the power output, okay? This is a Stryker SR655 version 2, and hope this helps somebody out there. Questions, comments, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535, Rooster in Tennessee, roostercb.com. Catch you guys out there. See you, bye.